start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I live by the old code of second floor!
Why look for a scientific explanation when you can put blind trust in an invisible Sky Daddy?
Sky Daddy all the way.
Go watch your crappy sitcom! Turn up full volume, why don't you?
Aubrey, weird, I can't even get through my couch!
You know what I just realized? I didn't even mean to have this happen, but we're still on the second floor right now.
Just can't get away from it, dude.
Can't, bro.
Can't. It's meant to be. That is pretty funny.
Well, welcome back to the second floor experience, everyone. Zach, you said you might have an icebreaker for us.
I do. So on Thursday night, we went and watched The Chosen. And I was watching a video on what's his name? He was on Joe Rogan. Recently. The big thing with he's like a scholar, the biblical scholar. What's his name?
Oh,
dude?
Wes Huff.
Wes Huff, yes. So he was on a panel, and some guy had asked him his thoughts on The Chosen, and it was interesting. I thought he gave a pretty interesting answer. He was saying how he thinks it's really good in a lot of ways, but he was describing how for people, and he gave an example of one of his friends. For people, sometimes it can be confusing as far as what actually happened in the scripture. So for instance, his friend was describing how his friend was reading the Gospels and remembering things that he had seen in the show, but that weren't actually in the text. So, you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so kind of confusing the source material. And he was just saying how that can be just not the best.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. Because not to say, The Chosen, in my opinion, is, it's definitely deserving of extremely high praise. Definitely the best.
100%.
Yeah, I think it's got to be the best cinematic portrayal of anything Bible related ever. In my opinion.
No, I think so too. Yeah.
The way that they go through the story and the things that they point out and do in the scenes. So many of the things that they do are things that you would only know to put in the story if there were trained scholars on there.
Yeah.
So I think that aspect is super cool. But and apparently Benji, he was telling me how before they release an episode, they send it to the a panel, a group or whatever, similar to people who do Bible translations.
Okay.
And they have it reviewed by them so that, and if anything is not based on scripture or whatever, taken too far, then that's their test.
That's pretty crazy.
Every episode, yeah, just pretty interesting.
Wow.
So, but I did find myself. I watched the first season. I think I watched a little bit of the second season, and I kind of skipped third or fourth, or however many seasons there are. But watched like the last 3 movies that they've come out with, which is just like, I think each movie was like 3 episodes.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they were long, dude. Like we would go like in the theaters, they were long. But I remember, oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, I've always been like a big fan of them, like the shows and everything, but I was just like a little disappointed with how they did like the last like couple episodes that I watched.
Really?
Yeah. I don't feel like they went to, like way out of scripture or anything, but I just feel like they did a little too much. Because like a lot of what The Chosen does is they'll, like, you've seen it, like,
Yeah.
they'll take like a passage in scripture and then kind of like fill in the gaps of like what could have happened, like what was most likely happening, like in the disciples' minds, or like around what, like, the events that Jesus was involved in. They'll kind of, I'm trying to think of an example. I don't know. Like when Jesus is teaching the home and those people lower their friend over, like, through the roof into the thing. Like, it shows that, then it like shows all these other characters and what probably like could have been going on, like in the minds and like, like the religious leaders, how they get upset, whatever.
Yeah.
And so they do that really well. Like they do that really well. But I feel like they stretched it a little bit with. So in the last episode, they did like the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus is praying.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot. Like, it was really good. It was really good. Like, everything The Chosen does is good. But I feel like there are some times where it's like almost best to leave things unexplained. Like, in the Garden of Gethsemane, like when Jesus is praying, it's in the Bible it describes how he's like very emotional. He was like in so much turmoil that even like he was bleeding from, like, he was sweating blood.
Yeah.
Right? Like he was in so much anguish and like stress. Then he even prays to God, like, if this like, if you would allow this cup to pass from me, like, I don't want, like, basically describing, like, I don't want to go through this pain that I know I'm about to go through. And like, they did all that. One thing they did that was really cool, I thought, was, I'll say this, like, Jesus is praying and like kind of, he's super stressed, whatever. And then he gets up and is like walking around the garden, and then he sees a vision of Abraham and Isaac. And when Abraham is like taking Isaac up the mountain to go sacrifice his son, right? And then we know from the story that, Abraham didn't sacrifice his son. God like intervened, stopped him, provided the ram. So when Jesus saw that vision, he turned around and was like, that's when he asked. He's like, Lord, like, you did it for Abraham. Like, is there any other way? Like, is there some way that you can do this without me?
Yeah.
Like, having to go through this.
Right.
So that was I thought that's like an example of where they took, like, that was not in the Bible. Like, Jesus, that doesn't describe Jesus seeing a vision of Abraham and Isaac, I don't think.
Right.
But they put that in there as like I don't know, like, this might have happened. This is like something that Jesus could have thought about. And then he like asked that question, right? Does that make sense?
It does.
So, but there are other parts where I just thought it was, I don't know, like he was seeing then he was just seeing like visions of all sorts of people. Not all sorts of people, but just I don't know. Does Jesus see? Do you remember in the Gospels? Does Jesus see Ezekiel while he's praying in the garden?
I don't think
Or
so.
like, I don't think it describes him seeing anybody
I don't think
else
so.
really. So it was just like they
Yeah.
he like. I mean, dude, the garden scene was like legit the entire last episode, pretty
Oh,
much. It
wow.
was just like, it wasn't bad. Like, I'm not saying it was bad. It was still really good, but if I just could be picky,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like the question you're getting at is like, is maybe dramatizing a story of the Gospels and enough to like have someone be interested in Christianity, is that worth the risk of them associating that as scriptural? I
Yeah.
think that's like kind of where you're at.
I mean,
where you're
yeah,
at, is
yeah,
like,
and almost like kind of like getting confused
yeah.
on like what actually happened, but I feel like that's not like a huge worry, you know. Like I think it's awesome that there's a studio out there doing this that's putting this much
course.
quality into.
You're right.
Like
Like what you said in the
displaying the
beginning.
Gospels, like-
I mean, what you said in the beginning is true. It really is the best show
It is
ever produced
Yeah.
about the Gospels.
Yeah, I mean the actors are solid. The story, I mean, yeah, it's all like produced really well. But I remember watching it and thinking like, dang, I think the Gospels did this better. You know? Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Like,
I think the gospel writers.
yeah.
I mean, it's got to be so tough, you know, putting
Dude.
myself in Dallas Jenkins' shoes, of like how far is too far.
Yeah.
You know, putting something out to the Christian community is like, you're never going to appease everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably like the same way that, you know, Marvel or DC feels when they're trying to put something together for a movie. You know, you're gonna have the comic heads, and the people that like,
for sure.
you know, and there's
Yeah.
like, well, it's not like lore specific
Yeah.
or comic book
Yeah, for
specific
sure.
or whatever. And I think everyone in that sense like has a point.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just wonder like how many people have now been introduced to Jesus or reintroduced to Jesus through The Chosen.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also it's like, we don't want to necessarily lead anyone to think something that's unbiblical either.
Yeah. Like, to me, the hope is that, like, for someone who's not, you know, like, who's like a brand new believer, never read the Bible or anything, I think the hope would be that The Chosen like leads people, kind of like points them to the Bible. But on the flip side of that, the fear is that like I don't know, maybe prevents them from reading the Bible.
Oh,
You know,
interesting.
just like, I don't want to read that. I'm just gonna watch the show.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't think about that part either.
So I like, all in all, I'm a like 1,000% a fan of The Chosen for sure.
This episode's gonna be like Zach tears down the
Yeah.
Chosen.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about earlier too, like how crazy is it that the Pope died today?
Dude.
To all their Catholic friends out there, we are sorry for your loss. And it's I feel like it was kind of a shock a little bit. I mean, I know he'd been having health problems, but I feel like it's.
I mean, how long was he the Pope?
That's a good question.
It was like, I mean, it was a pretty good amount of time, right?
Let me see. Whoa. I think since 2013.
Dang.
Head for 12 years, yeah. He was 88 years old.
Dang.
Hmm.
I mean, truthfully, I don't really know, like how much that affects the Catholic community.
I mean, it's a
Yeah,
pretty big
like,
deal. It's a
yeah.
pretty big deal. It says the longest serving pope served for 31 years, Pope Pius, and the shortest being just 33 days for Pope John Paul I.
Holy cow.
Wow.
But like, what are the? I mean, the Pope is like, he's like a pretty influential figure, not just in like, Catholic communities, but political too, I feel like. But I wonder, like, what. I still know how the process works. Like, I wonder how long it takes for a new pope to step in and what all that looks like.
Let's ask ChatGPT. It's called the, how do you say this? Papal Conclave.
Papal.
I think it's papal.
Papal.
The College of Cardinals is notified, and the Camerlengo, which is a cardinal appointed to manage the church's affairs during the vacancy, verifies the death and begins preparations. There's a 9-day mourning period called Novum Dialis following a pope's death, and the College of Cardinals meets in general congregations to plan the funeral, handle day-to-day Vatican business, prepare for the conclave. The only cardinals under the age of 80 are eligible to vote, which is typically about 120. It's held at the Sistine Chapel, and the cardinals are locked in until a new pope is elected. No outside communication is allowed, no phones, media, or contact with the world. Voting process: a 2/3 majority is required to elect a new pope. Ballots are handwritten and cast secretly. There are typically up to 4 votes per day. 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon. After each round, ballots are burned. If no pope is elected, black smoke rises. If a pope is elected, white smoke rises, signaling success.
That's right, yeah.
Once elected, the chosen cardinal is asked, "Do you accept your canonical election as supreme pontiff?" If he says yes, he chooses a papal name. He is dressed in white papal garments, and the senior cardinal deacon announces to the world, "Habemus Papam, we have a pope." The new pope appears on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, gives his first blessing, and officially begins his papacy. I feel like I'm really butchering that, but it's okay.
Dang.
How does one become eligible to be the pope? Surprisingly simple on paper, though in practice it's highly specific and rooted in tradition. So technically, any baptized male Catholic is eligible to be elected pope. He does not need to be a cardinal or even a priest. However, he must be willing to accept the office. If someone not already a bishop is elected, he must be immediately ordained as a bishop before assuming the papacy, since the pope is also the bishop of Rome. Practical reality, though, in reality, only cardinals are considered, especially those under the age of 80, with experience leading major dioceses or Vatican departments, and who are known and respected among their peers for leadership, holiness, theological insight, or diplomacy. This makes the pool of likely candidates small, typically a few dozen papibili, or those considered potential popes. The pathway to papacy. While there's no fixed path, many popes follow a general trajectory. Priesthood, which they're ordained after seminary training. Episcopacy. Wow. Episcopacy. I do not know how to say that. Appointed as a bishop, often of a large diocese. They could become archbishop or cardinal, elevated to higher office by the pope. Curial role, which is optional. Many serve in the Roman Curia, the Vatican's governing body. Created a cardinal by a sitting pope. Cardinals advise the pope and elect his successor. And known qualities. Demonstrates pastoral care, doctrinal integrity, leadership under pressure, and spiritual maturity. What makes a cardinal pope material? Multilingual communication skills, global perspective, and ecumenical sensitivity. Orthodox but pastoral theology, proven administrative leadership, reputation for holiness and humility. Wow. Did not know that.
So, from what you first read, is it basically saying that, like, any Catholic member
Technically could become
can
pope.
become the Pope?
Dude, why do I feel like this day and age right now, some 20-year-old Catholic guy could make it? Just zealous for the Lord.
You know, dude, I would not be surprised.
The way that
our world
dude,
works
Conor
right
McGregor
now.
trying to be elected as the freaking
like the president or something of
Ireland.
Crazy.
Andrew Tate trying to be,
dude. Yeah, what, the prime minister of the UK?
I mean, not like we're trying to compare that the papacy is close to those things. It is very different. But it's just interesting this day and age. We have a lot of interesting people going for elected positions.
Yeah.
There's definitely been a traditional thing that's been broken off in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, for sure.
Where
I think, realistically, I think Trump is the one who kind of like set that trend. But truthfully, I think you can say what you want about it, but I think it is, to me, it's a sign that people are tired of whatever system has been going on for the past, couple decades.
Yeah.
I don't know. And people are like ready for change, dude.
100%.
Even if that means putting someone like Conor McGregor in office,
going through a little bit of a whirlwind, maybe at times.
That would actually be, dude, that would be so interesting. A guy who goes from an MMA fighter to then like a whiskey company and beer now to then now becoming like, dude, if he became the president of Ireland, that'd be wild. Did I tell you, dude, I met someone from Ireland a couple weeks ago?
No way.
I went to, it was like that, one of like the business meetings one of the guys there that like I was talking to him, and we were talking about like bookkeeping, whatever, and like his business, and then he told me that he was from Ireland. I was like, what? And right then was like when, I mean, you know, this whole like Conor McGregor was like fresh in the news.
Okay.
I can't remember what for, but I was like, dude, I just have to ask, like, what are your thoughts on Conor McGregor and everything going on? And dude, he told me that to them in Ireland, Conor McGregor is like full on ghetto.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which I thought was kind of crazy.
What does that even mean?
I wasn't really sure. But like the way he described it, it was almost, I think, I could be wrong, dude. If I'm getting this wrong, I'm sorry, everyone who's Irish, whatever. But I think it would be the equivalent of like John Jones or like someone like that becoming, like running for president, you know? Like,
Freaking,
or I don't know. I don't know. so
Sean Strickland.
Yes.
Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny to think about.
Dude, I would love if Volkanovski would run for something.
Dude. He should. Just get like, just make our entire like government ran by MMA fighters, dude. Why not?
Holy moly, that would be. I mean, they got a very clear way to solve problems. That is for sure. That is for sure. Man.
But yeah, dude, people are ready for change. And it makes me think about it just makes me think about like the whole like fourth turning or whatever thing.
Dude.
Like, just interesting.
Yes, bro.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's a whole other
Yeah.
rabbit hole. Rabbit hole.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Yeah.
Well, you want to keep this one short and sweet? We had a long pre-show, so.
We did. We talked for a while. A lot going on right now. A lot going on.
Yeah, if you're a praying person listening, we could sure use your prayers.
Yeah. Here's a question, dude. This is not okay.
Hit me with it, dude.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. Okay. I've been thinking about this. I haven't like fully formulated this question yet, but it's been in my mind for the past couple days. Okay, but
All right.
But I feel like, okay, when we're talking this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
there's like this hesitancy or even almost like an annoyance towards like all the things that we say that feel cliche,
Yeah.
you know? And like I've just been thinking about like why,
Mm.
you know? Like I hate that I feel like that. It's like been bothering me.
That you feel annoyed when we talk about. That we feel annoyed when we talk about cliche things.
Yes, but also just yes. But just the fact that like I feel like I have to avoid, like, why I don't know, like, why does it bother you? Why is it like so annoying to me? You know, that I can't say something. I want to say something that I believe is like true and like directly relates to my life right now.
Yeah.
But I feel cliche and it just feels lame.
Maybe because like we want to be different
I mean, yeah.
in a lot of ways. And when we say cliche things, it makes us feel like we're just another podcast by two white guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
That just needs to be.
That just, we're just saying something that we heard our pastor say 2 weeks ago.
Or like some guru on YouTube.
I mean, yeah.
So you're basically saying it bothers you that we talk about cliche stuff.
I mean, yeah.
It bothers you that you're bothered by saying cliche stuff.
Yes. Like yeah. I am bothered by it, and I am also bothered by the fact that I'm bothered by it. But like truthfully, like the things that we talk about
are genuine.
Not only that, but like I don't feel like they're things that people talk about often. Like especially in our circles, like in our age group.
Yes.
If I go online and like look for people my age, like on like social media, it's like pretty rare, I feel like, that they talk about those things. Like, I don't know, maybe not, but just especially people with like around us, it's like, I don't know, dude. People want to talk about like how my job's going, or like what they're doing at church, or just like random crap.
Yeah.
Just random crap.
Yeah, like not the deep things of life.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
I appreciate you throwing it out, though.
It's just tough sometimes, dude. It's just tough.
We're just getting it all out now. Like this is development. This is progress.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
We're like that's what we're doing. Is we're like it's a discipline to develop our ideas. When we sit down here like this, to like we set aside a specific time in order to discuss the ways that we've been thinking and the ways that we've been feeling and things that we've been thinking, and we let them come out however they come out. And it's like we teach ourselves, and you wouldn't notice those things if you didn't have a podcast. You wouldn't notice yourself being I'm saying cliche things a lot. So just the fact that like you notice that, I think points to that we are trying to work through those things.
Yeah. But even not even just in podcasts though. Like even when we're talking sometimes, outside of it, it's like I have to say, it's like I feel this need to say, gosh, this is so cliche. But, like
I know the feeling, and I've noticed the same thing. I really have.
I guess like I've just been asking myself like, is that a bad thing? Or I don't know. Just been processing it, you know? Like a lot of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, here's to trying to be different, dude, right? Like,
Here's to trying to be different. Here's to trying. You know? Like, what did Volkanovski say after his last win? He said, adversity is a gift. If you're going through adversity, it's a gift because some people never face it.
that is what he said, dude.
He'd been going through it too. Like, I remember videos coming out last year of him like struggling with his mental health because he wasn't training for a fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he had just been coming off like a few knockouts, losses.
Yeah.
I was really happy for him to come back and win like that.
Dude. Pretty crazy comeback.
It really was.
It's like it's not often that you see someone like who's a champion as long as he was to take 2 knockout losses
Yeah.
and come back
At
and get
36 years old.
Yeah.
36.
Yeah. And then to come back and reclaim the title, it's pretty insane. Yeah. I do think he should stop.
I think he should end on that. I think he should retire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to go out right there.
Yeah. Well.
Any other burning questions?
Dude, I got questions for days, bro.
Yeah, that was a bad question. I shouldn't ask that.
Yeah, we're gonna end it here, dude.
All right. Well, thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you, and be praying for us. And we'll be praying for you. Hope you're doing okay. Know that you're loved no matter what you're going through, and there's grace for mistakes. And we're filming this right after Easter Sunday. So praise Jesus, he is risen. We have our eternal hope secured. And that's a cliche truth I will say all day. See you next time on Same Floor Experience Podcast. Peace.
Peace out. Rock on.
Peace out, Seacrest.
I want to talk to you. Not now, later. No, now.
You know what's sad, dude? This morning, this is so stupid. But I looked up, like, I just needed like a solid Monday morning to be in like the right frame of mind, you know? So I literally YouTubed motivational speeches from Optimus Prime.
Nah, dude. I'm about to do that right now.
And dude, it was pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
Motivational. Dude, I've even seen a lot of channels popping up for like it's like Billy Graham speaking, but it's like all AI.
Really?
Yeah, but it's like actually pretty hard to tell at first. And then I also saw some for Napoleon Hill too.
Reinforcements. Recognize one of your nuts.
This is an actual.
Oh, okay. No, yeah.
It can be difficult
I think I watched this one, dude.
when the full weight of your decisions bears down upon you. Something resembling hope or a positive outlook can become difficult to achieve. Instead, you begin to believe that things can't improve, that you were doomed from the outset, because in some intractable sense, you're broken, defective. You believe you can't be saved. Worse still, you begin to think that maybe you're not worth saving at all, that you don't deserve it,
It's like ministering to me
and
right
you
now.
never will. If that is you today, I want you to know that though the consequences of your actions may feel all too real, the notion that you're not worth saving isn't. You're not defective. You are not a lost cause. You've simply lost connection with the part of you that is worth saving. The part that had goals, aspirations, and dreams. The part that cared. The part that loved and hoped to be loved. The part that wished to do this world some good. It's still in you. It hasn't gone away. You're simply living out of integrity with it. Perhaps this life has jaded you. Perhaps circumstances have led.
Wow.
Bro.
I'm so glad you told me that.
How'd that make you feel, dude?
I feel so much better.